never have enough time to play it all. You know everybody wants to walk in someone else's shoes.
Hey guys, welcome back to Otter Creek in Rio Grande, where I'm going to pick up where I left off from the previous video and get started working on the track work for the east-west yard and the throat going into frying pan. So what that means is over in here, I need to put in a couple of three-way switches, for sure one that I've got over there on the workbench. I'm not finished with it yet, but I need a break from building turnouts. But I want to figure out kind of how all this area right in here is going to work going into the curved turnouts in this area. Because once I know that that's all going to work, then I can make these turnouts permanent, you know, go ahead and attach them to the plywood and then work on this area. And I think I've got just enough track that I can complete all of this and the run from here back over here to Silver Gulch with just enough track that I might actually be able to drive a train both south and east into frying pan. So that's kind of my goal this weekend. We'll see how it works out. Okay, so my OCD has had me messing with this now for probably over an hour. And, you know, I'm kind of suffering from paralysis analysis. But I think I've come to, you know, a resolution that I'm gonna be able to live with. And so here's the deal. This three-way has to fit in here in such a way that this track and that track can continue on around in a way that's at least somewhat fluid. And then this three-way has to come off of, you know, the rightmost track there. And so what you end up with, this is my coaling track, which should be a coaling trestle that, I don't know, it's probably 15 feet high, and I'll probably throw some pictures up of it. And then this track here ends up being, by default, the engine service track, because there's somewhere in here on this coaling track, there's some coal chutes that you can fill a tender with. And so I want to get all of that in, and the way this three-way breaks off this way, you have to bend this track back in on itself, which then again kind of changes where this turnout is. That's both of these tracks end up going in to the shed, the engine shed right here. And of course that's just there for looks, just to kind of give me an idea of how much space is going to be taken up there. So, you know, I've been messing with it all long enough now that I've noticed that I'm no longer messing with any of this. So I feel confident that this is probably as good as it's going to get. And anything else I do, you know, as a compromise is going to take place in here, not out here. So that was a long-winded way of saying that I think I've finally decided that I can make this permanent and actually put it there and run some wires to it, and also do the same thing down here with the turnouts that are going to be there. So I'm finally going to get started on that. see, I've got the tortoises in, and I've got all of my feeder drops put in where I think they need to be. Just need to go in and solder them. Now, this track and this track I have completely isolated, and it will be block detected. I'm not 100% sure how all this is gonna work operationally. I can definitely use this track, the middle track, as a passing siding. That's an option. And then the outside track then would be one lone yard track. I'm just gonna have to play around with it and do some operating and see what I like and see how it works before I make any hard decisions. But I did want to go ahead and do that just in case that's how I want to make it work. And then I can do the same thing, you know, on this end where I'm gonna have 3 tracks going off that way. You know, one of those inside tracks might end up being a passing track. I'm just not 100% sure, because I think the reality is 90% of the time I'm gonna be the only operator, maybe more than 90% of the time. And I don't know that I'm gonna need a lot of passing sidings, but I wanna plan for it anyway. So that's where I'm at now. I'm gonna get busy doing some soldering. frying pan west is about 98% complete. I didn't have enough of the tortoise adapter boards for everything. I had 3, so I've got this one and that one, which will take care of the crossover here, the curved crossover. And then I've got another one at that end. I'm not sure how it's gonna work, but everything should work good. I've got my 2 CT coils here for the block detection for the main line and then the siding. And I think I'm ready to flip it over and put some power to it and do a little testing. Now, I don't think I'm not gonna be able to test it 100% for sure because I don't have a way of changing the polarity in all of the turnouts. So I'm expecting some shorts and some things that, you know, I'm not going to be able to get ironed out until next weekend when I get the rest of my tortoise adapter boards. First rattle out of the box. I forgot to cut my isolation gaps in my frog. Just a quick note, if you're gonna put crossover ties, PCB, you might want to gap them if you don't want your layout to short out. Ask me how I know. All right, everything appears to be hunky-dory. despite a few problems in here, you know, with quality control on my part, that everything works good. All I need to do now is add stall motor driver and the rest of the electronics, and then I can stick it back up on the L girders. So that's all I've got time for this weekend. Stay tuned, and we will see you next time on Otter Creek and Rio Grande.